This is Martin Giles of the Guildford Dragon News, and I'm with Ben McCallan, who runs Zero in Guildford and is also responsible for organising the warm hubs that are about to be set up in the borough. Ben, thanks for giving time for this interview with the Guildford Dragon. What are these warm hubs?
So they are spaces where residents can go for support this winter. Obviously it's going to be a really tough winter for millions of people across the UK. Surrey is no different. We're going to have tens of thousands of residents who are struggling this winter, either in hard to heat homes or they might be feeling isolated. So warm hubs are places where they can go for free to warm up, get a cup of tea, meet other people and get some energy and debt advice to try and help support them through the winter.
Okay, so you've identified some suitable sites.
Yep.
What was the criteria for suitability?
So Surrey's got, based on the deprivation index, we have 20 areas of high need. So we've tried to prioritise those and have at least one space within walking distance of those. But actually the community has really stepped up and we've ended up with I think probably 70 plus across the county. So they're a mix of Surrey libraries, community spaces and some of the church halls as well. So it's been a really collaborative effort between Diocese of Guildford, lots of our community groups and the local authorities from the county council through the district and boroughs and the town and parish councils as well. So loads of people have come together to try and support residents on this, which is great.
Okay, now you're also one of the mainstays of Zero here in Guildford. Can you just give us a short summary of what you do here and what the purpose of Zero is?
Yeah, so Zero is one of the arms of the charity Zero Carbon Guildford, and we've got the old New Look space next to TK Maxx, from where you can come and get energy advice. We have loads of events on energy, on biodiversity, different things like that. And generally what we're trying to do is bring residents locally together to look at things like cutting waste, protecting our countryside, cutting down on emissions, all that sort of things that can help make Guildford a healthier place to live. We've got one of the highest levels of traffic and therefore air pollution in the country. We're top 97th percentile. So really looking at how we can make it a healthier space for us all to live, on an uncertain planet.
Okay, and how has that developed into a role of organising, if that is your role on the Warm Hubs initiative? How has that moved to that?
Yeah, so the Zero Carbon Guildford doesn't have much to do with the organisation of Warm Hubs whatsoever, but my paid job, we're all volunteers at Zero. We're actually the biggest volunteer organisation in Guildford, I think now. But my paid job is I'm a senior climate officer at Surrey County Council, and the Warm Hubs have been a collaborative project between Greener Futures and the Fuel Poverty team. And so we've come together because the fuel poverty folks look to support residents and cut down on fuel poverty. And for the climate change team, this is really a longer thing than just this winter. This is looking at energy habit behaviour change as well. What do we do after this? It's a tough winter. What do we do after that? We all need to be cutting energy use. It can save bills. It cuts emissions. So there's a bigger piece there as well. And to go along with that, there's also the Sustainable Warmth Grant. So any household which earns under £30,000 a year can get access to up to £25,000 for retrofit and energy efficiency measures, so that in the future they get massively cut bills as well. So that's how that's all come together on that side of things.
Okay, well, let's nicely explain that. So where are these warm hubs going to be? Where can we look out for them?
So they're right across Surrey. As I said, there's about 70 of them. In Guildford, we've got a few. So Guildford Library is going to be one, but we've also got Guildford United Reformed Church up on Portsmouth Road, is it? Yeah. The Hive, which obviously is GBC Wellbeing run, they do loads of great in Park Barn. Yeah, so they do loads of great stuff up there, right throughout the year. But obviously they are in one of the key neighbourhoods as well. So they're going to be looking at offering some activities. We've got St Peter's down in Belfields area, and there's a couple springing up as well.
So that's a church hall?
That's a church hall, yeah, and then St Francis is looking at doing one as well. So there's 4 or 5 across Guildford, and what you can do if you want to find your nearest
St Francis?
You got me there. Okay. There's so many coming in; it's hard to keep track. To be honest,
I'll put it in the writing in the article.
Yes, well, the easiest thing to do is we've made a map. So the GIS team at Surrey County Council has made a map. So if you search in Surrey Warm Hubs, you should find the Surrey County Council webpage, and you can find the map closest to you.
Okay, good. And nothing is perfect. What problems can you foresee with this initiative?
Well, so one of the biggest problems and the reason that we've tried to get involved in facilitating this is that energy bills are so high that a lot of community spaces were at risk of having to shut their doors, and so many community groups do amazing amounts of work to support our local residents. So it's really key for us to try and see how we can support them through, you know, a really tough winter of energy bills going up. So we've given some funding to lots of these spaces to try and help keep the doors open. Of course, another one is lack of capacity for volunteers. So we're still looking for volunteers for lots of the sites. You can go on the Voluntary Action Southwest Surrey website. There's loads of volunteering opportunities there. And actually, we're getting lots of volunteers come in, which is great to see the support for it. But as with all things that are run by volunteers, there's always room for more people to get involved and help. So those are a couple of the risks, I guess. But also, it's people not finding out about it, not going. I think the really important thing is to try and avoid any stigma in these things, because loads of us are going to struggle. My other half, for example, doesn't work. I work for the council. We're going to be struggling to pay energy bills as well. So I think this affects literally tens of thousands of us in Surrey, and there's no shame in putting your hands up, going and getting a bit of advice, going and meeting other people, having a chat about it.
Exactly. It could be, I mean, regardless of keeping warm, obviously the most important thing, but you could also have a chance to meet some other people and hopefully have a nice time there.
Exactly, yeah, and loads of the places are trying to put on activities so that there's stuff to do as well. So rather than just being sat at home through the winter and, you know, having to deal with that by yourself, then you can have an opportunity to get out, hopefully walk to your nearest warm hub and go and chat to other people about it.
Unfortunately, human nature being what it is, do you think there's a risk of some people taking advantage of these or and acting not very, you know, responsibly?
I don't think so, to be honest. So one of the things we're looking to try and do is roll out some fuel vouchers as well. So Surrey Community Action already do some great stuff in drop-in visits with giving out fuel vouchers. I think typically what we find is people often go the opposite way and say, oh, I don't want to take that away from someone who needs it most. And that's the same. We run a community fridge here, and the purpose of that is actually to cut down on waste, because food waste accounts for 8 to 10% of human emissions, basically. So an entirely avoidable problem. But when you theme something around something else, because it's a community fridge and it's free food, people see that and think, oh, you know, I'll leave that for somebody else. And that's not the point of it. It's about waste. It does supplement people who need the support as well.
Exactly.
But actually, people often go the other way. So fingers crossed, no. Obviously, you can never predict it exactly, but I don't see it being too much of an issue.
Okay, but do you have contingency plans for that?
For people taking
not
advantage of
behaving
it.
properly in this thing?
I mean, well, not behaving properly is another sort of question, isn't it, really? I think that comes down to sort of social care, really, doesn't it? I think hopefully most people that are going because they're trying to be, you know, help build this sort of support out through the community. So I don't see it being too much of an issue. But most of the community spaces that run it are used to dealing with their local residents anyway. So hopefully there's a good amount of trust and working relationships there anyway.
Yes, hope so, yes, that's good. And so once the project's in, we get through to spring, you look back, what will success have been in your view?
Well, hopefully maximum number of residents supported. A really tricky part of this, obviously, as well, is if we get rolling blackouts, there's, you know, what we're going to do in the night. There's going to be lots of people who are struggling in the evening as well. So that's a whole other headache that really there's no easy solutions to. So I think focusing on some of the positive things, as many people that have come through these, the better, really. And Northampton is a great model of this. They served 19,000 individual users last year in their warm hubs, which is a massive percentage of the people who struggle with fuel bills up there. I think one of the key goals for us, bearing in mind the climate change team, is to get as many people linked up with the decarbonisation funding as possible. So things like the Sustainable Warmth Grant, which is basically free money for energy efficiency measures. Residential emissions are Surrey's second highest emissions source after traffic, which makes up about 40%. Residential emissions is next. So there's a huge amount of work to do in decarbonising a lot of our housing stock. So as many people that we can help take up that support as well, then obviously that's kind of success from where I'm coming from in this.
Okay, so sounds like a very worthy initiative. Good luck, Ben.
Thank you.
And I think the message is, don't be too proud to use them if you need them, and hopefully have a good time when you're there.
Yeah, see you there.
Thank you.